What's going on, you guys? It's Cody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. In this video, we got to talk about three things. We got to talk about Voyager Digital, Sofi, and this mustache. No, I'm just kidding. We're not talking about the mustache. We're just talking about Sofi and Voyager Digital here today because they are just absolutely getting destroyed. Everything is in the stock market seems like it's getting destroyed. I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of my holdings in these companies and also in other small caps, and my portfolios are just totally getting destroyed right now. There's a couple stocks that are hanging on, that are kind of keeping me a little bit sane, but for the rest of it, just totally getting destroyed. So let's jump into my computer here and take a look at what's happening with these stocks. So you can see right here that I had to just purchase more Voyager Digital and Sofi here today. Now this is just in my Fidelity account, which is my main account that I use for most of my long-term investing. I also have a Robinhood and Webull account. I also bought shares of Sofi in those accounts as well, but I'm not going to show it here just because I want to get this video out really quickly. So unfortunately, you cannot buy Voyager Digital on those platforms yet, so I did have to buy that in my Fidelity account. So you can see here that I bought, let's see, what is this? 40, 80, that's 120, 150, 250, 350, a little over 350 shares of Voyager Digital here today. And you can see the prices right here. And this puts me, you can see that these are varying prices, right? At the start, at the open of the market here today, Voyager was down pretty heavily. I think it bottomed out at like 1170 or something like that. And then it started to climb and it actually gained back the 8 or 9% that it was down from the open. And then actually ended up closing the day, I think at like plus 1% or something. We're going to take a look at that here in just a second. But you can see here that I was watching some interviews with Steve Ehrlich. I was watching interviews or videos on YouTube about this company, and the more I look into this company, the more I think about it, the more I look at the opportunities that are out there in the stock market. I just can't get past the opportunity that this company has. If you're looking for exposure to the crypto world, but also want to be in the fintech space, but also want to be in, the financial space of banking and trading and all that stuff, there's no better company than Voyager Digital, in my opinion. The risk to reward here is just absolutely insane, right? It's a very small company. They have a ton of catalysts coming in 2022, and I think they're going to continue to get exposure, and this is going to continue to push the price up over the coming, months, years, and even the next decade or so. I think this could easily be a 10x to 50x opportunity literally within the next 10 years. I'm not going to say exactly when that will happen. I think it could 10x in the next 2 to 3, let's say, and I think it could potentially, upwards of 30 to 50x over the next 10 years if they execute at a very high level. So for me personally, I have such a huge amount of my net worth in real estate that I'm trying to diversify more into stocks, but I'm willing to take higher risks in order to get higher rewards here in the stock market. So for me, I'm trying to focus as much of at this point, over the last couple of months, I've been thinking about this. I've been selling off a lot of these other stocks that I think will do well in order to purchase more shares of these two companies here. So you can see that between Voyager Digital and Sofi, Voyager Digital is already like 40% of my account. And I wouldn't be surprised, my overall portfolio, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sofi is closing in on 20 to maybe 30% of my overall portfolio. That's between shares and options as well. So I really believe in these companies. I think there's a very bright outlook for where they're going to be going in the future. And like I said, I'm looking at, really trying to focus in on just a couple of stocks that I think will do really well, that have the potential to 10x or more over the next couple of years. My goal time frame is going to be the next 5 years. I think these are both companies that could do that if they execute at a very high level. I think Voyager probably has a little bit higher chance of doing that. I think Sofi is going to be right up there with them. I do think that Sofi is probably a little bit safer, whereas Voyager is a little bit riskier. So, there's a little bit of diversification in there, if you will, but I'm just looking for bigger rewards, right? If I lost $100,000, yeah, that's going to suck. That's $100 grand. But if I have the opportunity to turn that 100 into $1 million, that's way more important to me at this point in life where I'm so young, I could recoup those losses pretty easily. I'd rather take that chance of going from 100K to $1 million rather than going from 100K, earning 7-8%, investing in an index fund or something and coming out the other side with 200 or 300K, right? It's just not the strategy for me. I want to take high risk, high reward. So you can see here that we bought, like I said, I think it was like 350 shares of Voyager Digital here. And this account is showing roughly 80 shares of Sofi. Unfortunately, I tried to pick up more. I had a bunch of limit orders in for Sofi in the low $13 range, but they didn't get filled. Sofi was dipping at the beginning of the day, and just like a lot of other stocks, actually continued to run up. But I just thought, you know what? I need to buy the stock at, whether it's $13 or $15, I don't really care. I think this is easily going to be a 5 to 10x in the next 5 years. So that two extra dollars, like I don't, it's not the end of the world, right? I don't think that's going to be, sorry, I just noticed this. These 5 shares of Voyager are 1330. Yeah, so the 5 shares of SoFi were 1471. SoFi did not go that low, so my limit orders were not that low. I was getting a little confused, but they were just under what this one filled at. So I was actually trying to average down as it came down. So they were probably somewhere in the 1450 range. But, I don't really care what they're trading at. If it's 1472 or it's 1550, it's not going to really matter when it's a $80 stock, right? Yeah, I'd love to be able to purchase more shares, and when you get that price down, the ability to purchase shares goes up. But that's not something I'm necessarily focused on. I don't care what it is, whether I buy Voyager shares at 1330 or 1179. I don't care. I'm just trying to get my cost basis down, which I achieved with all of these purchases. And I'm trying to get, I would love to see this back in the $9 range. So enough about that. Let's actually take a look at the stock charts here. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. So let's look at what these stocks have done over the last little bit. So this is the SoFi stock chart, because these stocks are just totally getting obliterated. And, some of it's really frustrating. If you're a holder of the stock, it's frustrating to see your account go down, but it does give you the opportunity to purchase more shares. So for me, unfortunately, a lot of the gains I had in my stock account, especially in my Webull account, I went from $22,000 up to $50,000, and I'm back to $20,000 because of SoFi stock, stock options. So stock options can be very volatile. I started buying those stock options back here. Let's see, this is like September. No, it's probably October. Yeah, like beginning of October, I started buying those in here, and the stock ran up really nicely. My options were printing very well, and they've continued to sell off, and now I've lost a bunch of money, and I'm back to where I started. So I'm not negative just yet. The options still have value, of course, because they are, dated out until next year for most of them. I even have some leaps in there, so I'm not too worried about those, because I do think this stock will continue to, will come back up. I think there's a good chance it goes up to $20 to $23 in the next little bit when we get the bank charter approval, and as we move into 2022 with all the catalysts they have, all the concerts they've got going on at SoFi Stadium, the Super Bowl that's going to be there, all the signups, the student loans coming back. There's a lot of catalysts for SoFi, and I think really, other than some Fed fears, there's really no reason why it came from $23 all the way down here to the $14, $15 range. It just really doesn't make sense. And yeah, I'm excited to get it back up to 23. So I did buy some shares here, which will be nice. Those shares will print pretty nicely once it gets back up here to the $23 range. I'm pretty excited about that. That's going to be a really nice thing to have when we actually get there. So, that could be potentially a 50% gain from where we're at right now if we just get back to 23 on the stock chart there. So that is SoFi. You can see here, let's just actually zoom out here a little bit, take a look at the 3-month chart. You can see that it's been pretty flat. Let's actually go back to 6 months. So 6-month chart, it's been pretty flat. Before that, it was really getting low. It was getting beat down, traded flat, tried to climb up to $17, dropped to $13.74, and just kind of traded, mostly flat. You could say up a little bit, but man, it's just been mostly flat. Had a nice climb, and then ended up falling here pretty heavily over just the last 3 weeks or so, maybe 4 weeks or so. So it's good to see that stock going back up here today. We did see some pretty good gains, which is nice to see, considering how red the market has been. It's just getting beaten down. So let's take a look at Voyager here. Looking at Voyager stock, so let's go here to the day chart, zoom out a little bit. Let's go 6-month chart. This is a company, and its share price has just been up and down, up and down, up and down. It's pretty crazy here. So let's actually zoom out a little bit more. So if we go back here, all right, this is a perfect stock chart. So this is where the company is very new. Nobody's really heard of it. People are starting to buy in here in January. Man, I wish I'd gotten these shares for $5. I would have had to hold on to them for a long time, but we saw a big rally here. I found out about the company, I think it was probably in here somewhere like late February, because I was buying it like $15, $16 initially. And, it first started running up. It hit $29. I ended up buying some shares up here, and then since then, it's just been basically downhill until we saw a big bump last month here at the end of October going into November. We saw a pretty big bump there, but yeah, I was averaging down. I was buying shares here. Now I've got my cost basis down to about 11. I think overall, all my accounts, it's probably about $12.50, maybe $13. So pretty good there. I'd love to get it down, closer to 11 if possible. But we'll see where the stock price goes. So right now it's sitting at, roughly $13.31 as of today. So we saw this big bump up here because of the Dallas Mavericks partnership, the partnership with Rob Gronkowski. So we saw a big jump here, going from $9 to, what is this roughly? Let me move my picture there. This is roughly $16 up to 20, and then it's just kind of been downhill from there. Again, downtrending here, really for no other reason other than Bitcoin. This is the reason why. If we come back here, let's take a look at the Voyager account, the Voyager stock chart, I mean. So we look at this. This is November 9th. Here it hit the high of 2035. If we come over here to Bitcoin, check on November 9th. Bitcoin was sitting at $64,000. It ended up peaking out the next day at $69,000 for just a minute, and then started to downtrend from there. So this is almost, it's almost right in line. You look at this chart, how this has gone. It's gone steep down, flattened out a little bit, and then steep down again. Voyager's almost the same exact thing. If you look at this, it's kind of steeper down, flattens out a little bit, and then a little bit steeper right here. So Voyager is really trading with Bitcoin. That's interesting because it's not like a mining company that, if the Voyager is holding all this Bitcoin or whatever. So if Bitcoin goes down, then the company goes down in value or whatever, like MicroStrategy or Marathon or Riot or Hut 8, whatever, those companies like that. But you've got this company that's really just trading based on Bitcoin, which it shouldn't, in my opinion. I don't think this is a company that needs to be trading based off of Bitcoin, but it is. There's a lot of catalysts coming for Voyager Digital over the next couple of months. They're expanding their loyalty program. They've got the debit card coming out soon. I've already enrolled in that. I'm really excited to get it. I'm going to be out there spending money, making videos on how that debit card works. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And Voyager has so many cool things going for it. Their rewards program is absolutely phenomenal, which, by the way, if you don't have a Voyager account yet, you can use that link in the description box below or the pinned comment and get $25 for free in Bitcoin after you deposit your first $100 on the platform. So make sure to do that. But there's just so many benefits coming to Voyager and their program. They're going to be introducing stocks to their platform at some point. They're going to be able to get uplisted to hopefully to the NASDAQ sometime in 2022. And there's a lot, a ton of partnerships coming and just a really exciting future for Voyager overall. They just hit over 1 million funded accounts maybe a couple weeks ago now. Maybe it was even a month ago. Man, I lose track of time. But yeah, just a ton of really exciting things there. It is high risk. If cryptocurrency continues to trend down or goes into a big bear market, then Voyager is going to suffer. They could easily go back to single digits if Bitcoin drops further, right? If Bitcoin goes back to, that range, like let's come back over here. Let's say that Bitcoin goes down to like 40,000, right? So we had that flash crash. That's a story for another video. But let's say that Bitcoin goes down to like 40,000, right? Back here where it was in September. So end of September. Let's just see where Voyager was at the end of September. If that were to happen, that would be, it'd be pretty easy to see Voyager going back into single digits, right? Right here. It was trading under. Let's see, we hit like $10 like right here. September 27th, right? So the end of September, Voyager started trading down and was actually like at the $8 mark here for a second. I remember it hitting $8, like high $8, a couple of times intraday. And you can see the low point is 914 right here, I guess, for the close. So, it wouldn't be surprising if Bitcoin goes down to 40,000 or below to see Voyager in the single digits again. If it does, I'm loading the boat, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. It'd be worth it for me, to take that risk. I'm not saying it's right for you, but it would be worth it for me. And that's something that could definitely happen over the next little bit until Voyager is able to separate itself from being connected so closely to the price of Bitcoin. That's something we're going to continue to see. I think that getting uplisted to the NASDAQ and also getting the ability to have stocks on their platform is going to give them some additional streams of revenue and also additional exposure in the market, specifically in the form of the uplisting to the point where they're going to be valued a little bit differently. The PE ratio, looking at how this company is valued, it's extremely undervalued based on other companies in the same space. Again, that's a video for another day. But yeah, I've rambled on long enough here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, share it with a friend or family member who's interested in crypto themselves. And, make sure to use those links down in the description box below. Let me know what you're buying. Drop a comment below with what you're buying in the market during these insane red days. Hopefully the market turns around for the interest of all of us. And with that said, guys, catch you in the next one.